Dear friends, when it comes to Pakistan, India's Defence Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, unfortunately continues with his shenanigans and chicaneries. The other day, he was speaking at an event in occupied Jammu and Kashmir, in which he claimed that Prime Minister Modi did not take very long. As a matter of fact, he decided within 10 minutes to take action, military action against Pakistan post Uri attack in September 2016 and then post Pulwama attack in February 2019. I wanted to set the record straight because it sometimes happens, rather more often than not, that when you start spreading rumors, falsehood, you start believing in that and you become victim of your own shenanigans, so to say. This is what is happening, I think, to the Indian leadership now. The fact of the matter is that at the time of Uri attack, I was in New Delhi and India started claiming that their forces carried out across the LOC surgical strike. And then we saw a press release issued by the Indian DGMO, and which clearly stated that the operation, the so-called operation, was carried out along the LOC, not across the LOC. So there was kind of, the Indian political leadership and the Indian military leadership, they came up with different explanations. Similarly, and then in my interviews there with a number of India TV channels, I try to underscore this very point, that there is a conflict between what the Indian political leadership is claiming and what the Indian military is saying. Similarly, after the Pulwama attack, we all know what happened. On the 26th of February, Pakistan gave a befitting reply to the Indian side and shot down its 2 aircraft and also captured one of their pilots, Mr. Abhinandan. So I just wanted to convey to the Indian side or to the Indian leadership that they should not be misguided or get carried away by their own excessive and misplaced rhetoric, lest we get involved into something which spirals out of control. Pakistan obviously cannot tolerate any such military misadventure across the LOC or across the working or across the international border. And we must warn India that such jingoism is, we all understand why there is increase in this rhetoric, because there are elections taking place in 5 very important Indian states this year, and then there is a general election of next year, early next year. So anti-Pakistan rhetoric, anti-Kashmir rhetoric, unnecessary talk on so-called cross-border terrorism does pay dividends when it comes to Indian elections, and the BJP has very masterfully exploited that to get support from the Indian electorate, because they are thriving, their politics is flourishing on creating more and more divisions. And this is what is happening. Similarly, when about a week ago, I think, the former president of the US, Mr. Barack Obama, gave a television interview in which he upbraided the Indian government for the way they are treating their minorities, particularly the Muslim minority. And the way India responded to that, unbelievable. Mr. Obama was once, he symbolized the growing strategic partnership between the US and India. And when he visited India as the president, and then Prime Minister Modi also paid a visit to the US when he was the president of the US, I think in 2014 or 15, I do not exactly remember the year. but he symbolized the friendship between the two countries, and now all of a sudden he has become a villain, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry in India is lambasting President Obama for his, according to them, uncalled for remarks. He was speaking the truth, and it is not only President Obama who is saying, who has said this thing, but if you read the international media, watch international television channels, you would find that people are talking more and more about the way India is mistreating its minorities. Now what is happening in Manipur, we all know. Kuki Christians are under immense pressure these days, and the way a campaign has begun against them. It's not a very encouraging situation in India. We do not draw any satisfaction because we do understand that such things are never very, they're not to be celebrated, frankly speaking. Even we have a hostile relationship with India, but still we would like people, innocent people, not to get killed or not to be oppressed. I think India needs to introspect, reflect what is happening on Mr. Modi's watch. More and more, minorities are no doubt under pressure these days. Across the board, and that is the problem. Particularly the way Muslims are being handled, that needs to be condemned, because it is unacceptable. And if India claims to be the world's largest democracy, it has to show that it is indeed a genuine democracy, or democracy only in name. It seems that under Prime Minister Modi, India has indeed regressed, and this democracy has now become a sham, frankly speaking. And it pains me to say that, because India has been a vibrant society, vibrant country, but the economic growth which India has achieved over the last few years has not trickled down. Still millions of people are living below the poverty line, and the benefits of India's progress, India's development are restricted to a few. And India and Prime Minister Modi, I cannot expect anything better from him, frankly speaking. But the people of India need to think as to who they would like to vote in the next election, because Prime Minister Modi has failed in many respects, and this is a time for the people of India to decide whether they will continue living in this the way they are, the way India is at present, where minorities do not feel safe and their places of worship continue to be under threat. So, but it is for Indian people to decide. We can only comment and give a sincere and friendly advice. Thank you very much.